This is a space where we manifest with purpose. Welcome, Feminine Initiate. I'm your host, Jess West. Let's dive in. Hey there, and welcome back to the podcast. I hope you're having an incredible day so far. Look, I know that by tuning into this podcast that you are on a journey of personal development. And maybe if it's not a journey specifically, you at least have an interest in your own personal development and growth. And so maybe you already have a tool in your toolbox that you pull out when you feel like your energy is off, when you feel like you're experiencing a block. Maybe you already have something to help you shift through that energy. If you don't yet, then this episode is for you because I'm going to share my absolute favorite tool that I use when I'm feeling off. And this tool helps me get back to a neutral energy and then shift into an empowering energy state where I can continue moving forward. If you are one of my regular listeners, as I'm sharing this, you are probably already getting an idea of what practice this might be. And it is EFT, known as tapping or emotional freedom techniques. By far, hands down, my absolute favorite practice. And I use it often whenever I feel off, whenever I feel a little bit of anxiety or anything less than, my go-to is to start tapping. The more that you practice EFT tapping, the quicker that you experience the shifts as well. So emotional freedom technique combines elements of exposure therapy, cognitive therapy, and physical stimulation of acupressure points on the face and body to treat physical, mental, and emotional problems. EFT states that the cause of all negative emotion is a disruption in the body's energy system. So what we're doing as we are tapping through the different meridian points, we are shifting the energy in our body. We're also affirming positive I am statements. And so it's combining the mind and the body in this process. And I want to share with you specifically of these two processes, mind and body, my experience with it and why I love this practice so much. I first want to talk about the mental aspect that really stood out for me and started shifting for me. So when we are setting our intention for our EFT tapping session, and I am going to be telling you the entire sequence and how to really set it up yourself, but I just want to share the highlights for me in each step first. So when we are setting our intention statement, we're affirming to ourselves that whatever we're feeling, whatever the negative emotion, whatever that block, whatever that feeling that we're trying to transcend, we're going to state it. So let's say you're feeling anxiety about a public speaking presentation that you need to do. So you would say something like, even though I'm feeling so anxious about going up and speaking in front of 100 people, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. That was the most powerful point for me, stating that no matter how I'm feeling, and especially even if I'm feeling negative, I still accept and I love myself. How many times do we actually associate ourselves and identify ourselves with our feelings? It's even in the way that we say it. I'm mad, I'm upset, I'm anxious, I'm scared. We are saying, I am this. But in reality, we're not our emotions. We're not our fear. We're not our anxiety. We're not our sadness. And when we identify ourselves with those things, it becomes so much more sticky. It becomes so much more a part of ourselves that is so hard to be able to loosen up, that is so hard to be able to shift because we are making it our identity. But when we say that even if I'm feeling this way, we add that in, we add that verb in, I am feeling fearful. I am feeling whatever, upset, scared, whatever. It's a feeling. It is not me. We're creating that separation from us, seeing this feeling and saying that no matter how I'm feeling, I still love and accept myself, even despite this. So many of us, we feel ashamed of how we're feeling. And the only reason that we could feel ashamed is because we are identifying ourselves with those undesirable feelings. But when we recognize that this is just a feeling passing through, this isn't me, this isn't my identity, this is just how I am feeling right now. But I love and accept me anyways, because I know I am so much more than this. I know that I am a divine, loving being. It also taught me to forgive, because if we could feel a certain way and still love and accept ourselves anyways, then that must mean that we're forgiving ourselves for whatever it is that we did. We're not holding on to any of the guilt or resentment or whatever it is. If we can love and accept anyways, then by virtue, we're forgiving. I mean, love is that antidote, is it not, to unforgiveness? And so for me, this was so powerful. And honestly, it brought me back to the moment when I woke up in my hospital bed after my car accident in 2015, after being told that I was likely going to be a dependent for the rest of my life, that I wasn't going to return to school, wasn't going to return to work. And I had this moment of complete acceptance. And I call it my moment when I truly set myself free, because I promised myself that no matter how I was going to recover, and no matter what my life was going to look like, I wasn't going to allow those thoughts of limitation to hold so much weight in my life anymore. And those thoughts were, I'm not good enough. It was the self-doubt. Who am I to do this? You can't do this. All of those limiting beliefs of who I thought I was. I wasn't going to allow that limiting narrative to hold so much weight. But I accepted, no matter how I was going to recover, no matter what that was going to look like, even if I was at that point going to be dependent for the rest of my life, that's fine. I accepted that as a possibility, but that still wasn't going to mean that I was going to limit myself in my own thinking. I literally set myself free. I was no longer willing to identify myself with those limiting thoughts. And the sense of freedom that brought me is beyond words. And I think this is why EFT tapping stuck with me so much, because I really loved the power of these 3 intention setting statements, and then the power of the beautiful I am affirmations that follow it. And that is what got me through the initial frustration of tapping on the points and being like, what is happening? Why are we tapping for 3 rounds? This is what allowed me to keep going and continuing to practice and adjust the practice with how it felt right for me, is because there really is so much power in being able to simply accept and love ourselves. And it's also flexible. If you are feeling like you're not quite in a space right now to affirm that you love yourself and you accept yourself fully, and for that to feel good for you, then you can play around with your affirmations. It is your practice. The mantra for EFT is to try it on everything, because it can literally work on anything. People have tried it on anything. And I see it also as try it. Just try whatever feels good to you. This could really be a unique practice to you. And so if you feel like an affirmation, like I am learning to love and accept myself anyways, if that feels more congruent for where you are at right now, then that works as well. It's just whatever feels right for you. So that's what really resonated with me. That's the mind portion of EFT tapping that I absolutely love. And then let's get into the actual somatics of it, tapping on the different meridian points. Interestingly enough, EFT tapping is an adaptation of thought field therapy, which I believe was first discovered in the 80s. And with thought field therapy, we are using tapping and meridian points, but we're using muscle testing to first discover specifically which meridian point to tap on to address whatever specific issue we're feeling, because each meridian point that we are tapping on is associated with energy in the body and is a different organ in the body. So for example, when we are tapping on the side of our hand, this meridian is associated with our small intestine. The eyebrow point is the bladder meridian. The side of the eye is the gallbladder. Under the eye is the stomach. The wrist is our heart and lung. And there's corresponding energies to each of these points as well to release anxiety, worry, fear, any kind of tension, resentment, confusion. And by the way, I've included a chart on my website and I've included the link below so that you can go and check it out and take a look at the different meridian points and what they're associated with. And so in thought field therapy, we would do muscle testing to identify where the problem is that we're experiencing in the body, and we would tap solely on the meridian points that were associated with the problem that we're feeling. However, with EFT tapping, because it's an adaptation founded by Gary Craig, and his reasoning was that we cannot negatively tap on something. If we tap on a meridian point, there is no negative outcome. And so if there's no negative outcome, instead of spending so much time trying to muscle test to pinpoint the exact meridian point, why don't we just tap on all of them throughout one sequence? Because in tapping through all of them, we're going to experience a shift. We're going to end up hitting on that point. And so it was a quicker way to do it where we're always going to be tapping. And there's no way that our muscle testing is inaccurate because we are hitting on all of the points. So we are experiencing that shift, and you could experience an even greater benefit because you're tapping on meridian points that you wouldn't have solely pinpointed. And so we are shifting the energy throughout our body. And as we're doing this, we're signaling to our amygdala, we're signaling calm. And that's why it has been seen to reduce cortisol levels, to reduce stress in the body. It helps regulate our heart rate, lowers our blood pressure. And so those are some of the actual physical experiences with EFT tapping. And there is, in my experience, there is a noticeable shift. There is a point in time as you're doing the tapping where you experience that shift. And when you're like, okay, I got it. I'm tapped in. What we're doing with EFT tapping, I'll share this sequence with you now. First, we want to decide what is it? What is that resistance that we're feeling? What is that block that we're feeling? What is that low vibe that we want to end up rebalancing? What is it specifically? What is giving us anxiety? What is giving us grief, for example? And so we determine what is it. And then we really want to feel into that emotion. And if we feel into that, we want to rate the intensity of that emotion on a scale from 0 to 10. 0 being we don't feel that at all. That is our goal to get to with EFT tapping. But 10, we want to say that that is the worst possible feeling that we can feel. So for example, in my EFT tappings, I'll often associate feeling number 10 with a state of like complete paralysis. And then oftentimes when we compare it to a state of complete paralysis, we will end up finding that our intensity could be somewhere between like maybe a 5 or a 7 or something like that. Once we find that number, then we begin tapping. And what we're tapping on for our first round is really bringing up that negative emotion because we want to feel that emotion. And through tapping on the different meridians, we are bringing that emotion back to a point of neutrality. And this is where I'm saying that there will be a moment in time when you experience the shift. When you experience the shift, and even in your affirmation statement. So for example, let's go back to the example of having anxiety of going out to public speak in front of 100 people. So you might start your first tapping round saying, I am so nervous of speaking in front of 100 people. What if I mess up? What if I freeze? And you're saying this as you're going through the different meridian points. What if I forget all of my lines? What if people laugh at me? I am so anxious. I don't know if I can do this. I don't think I could do this. And eventually, as you are continuously tapping on these points, feeling into your energy, eventually you will naturally start saying, but what if everything goes okay? And at that moment, you're actually starting to experience the shift in your emotion in real time. It's honestly incredible. And so you start to open the possibility of, well, what if I can actually do this? What if the results turn out even better than I can think about right now? What if everything goes right? What if this creates momentum for how I'm moving forward? And you get it. It just continues. We are bringing in more positive affirmations, more positive energy as we are actually literally experiencing that shift. And I hope that if you have already joined me on an EFT tapping session on Sunday, that you have experienced that shift. And if you haven't yet joined me, then I invite you to join me on Sundays to be able to experience it firsthand. So let me get back into this sequence just so you can do it for yourself, because maybe the tappings that I'm sharing on Sundays aren't actually quite what you're experiencing right now, and you would like to experience the power of EFT tapping for yourself. So we went through the setup. You want to figure out, how is it that I am feeling specifically? What is that block? What is that resistance that I'm feeling? I'm going to rate that on a scale from 0 to 10. And then I'm going to start the sequence. And so there are 9 meridian points that we are tapping through. And again, you can find all of that information on my website, specifically where they are, where they're located, what meridian they're associated with, what the corresponding energy is, and why specifically we use it in our EFT tapping. You're going to start out with tapping on the side of your hand with your affirmation statements. This is when you are saying 3 times, even though I'm feeling this way, even though I'm feeling anxious, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm feeling anxious, I am learning to love and accept myself. Even though I'm feeling anxious, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Once you say that 3 times, you're going to start to move through the sequence, which I do it goes from the top of the head, your eyebrow, side of the eye, under the nose, the chin, the collarbone, under the arm, and the wrist. The first round of tapping, you're going to be bringing up that negative emotion. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling anxious. What if I forget what to say? What if people laugh at me? All of that. After your first round, you're going to take a pause and you're going to reflect back to your scale. You're going to reflect if the intensity has gotten closer to 0, closer to the point where you aren't feeling it anymore. If it hasn't yet gone to 0, then you can redo the tapping sequence again, stating that negative feeling, but allowing yourself to be intuitively guided into your affirmation. So for example, you may start out again with saying, I am full of anxiety around speaking. What if I mess up? What if people laugh at me? And then you might naturally start to say, but what if it all goes right? What if I actually enjoy myself? Again, once you're done that second round, you're going to reassess, look back at your scale. If you haven't yet got to the 0 mark, then you're welcome to redo it again, tapping on that negative to really get that feeling off. But if you have gotten into 0, then that is when you're going to do your last round with really reinforcing how it is that you want to feel. If you want to feel empowered, if you want to feel totally confident in sharing your message, in speaking, if you want to stand tall, then these are the kind of affirmations that you can be adding. So you may start to do your next round at the top of the head. I am feeling so confident in front of this group of individuals. My story resonates with others. I know that it is exactly what others are supposed to hear. I share my message with ease. I am totally confident. I am empowered with who I am. Whatever it is, whatever comes to you and feels good naturally. And then again, once you're done that last round, you would rate yourself again. How are you feeling? Are you feeling motivated? Are you feeling empowered? Are you feeling confident? Are you feeling excited to go and speak on stage in front of 100 people or whatever it is that your goal is? How are you feeling? And if you're feeling the shift, then it has worked for you. And after doing this, I am certain that there will be some aspect of EFT tapping that will capture your curiosity and that you will want to continue, even if you don't experience the intense shift right away, because again, EFT tapping, the power of it becomes more prominent and more noticeable the more that you do it. But there may be one aspect, even if it is just the affirmations that you love, or even if it's those 3 affirmation statements stating that you accept and you love yourself no matter what, whatever it is that resonates with you during EFT, I would encourage you to really hone in on that so that you can continue practicing it, because there are truly so many benefits with it, and it may just become your favorite tool too. And it's so empowering to know that no matter how you're feeling, no matter what is going on, that you have a tool specifically that you can take out and that you can use for yourself. You don't need anything else. You don't need anything outside of yourself to make yourself feel better, to allow yourself to feel better. You have that power within yourself. And when you have your own tools that you can reach for, you're truly empowering yourself to be able to regulate yourself, regulate your emotions. You become so much more resilient in your life. You become so much more empowered, and that creates incredible ripples in your life. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and I hope that you, through the practice, will begin to love EFT tapping as much as I do. And something that is really fun that I'll just sneak peek and mention to you right here is I started practicing EFT tapping on my dog, because yes, animals have the same meridian points as we do, and EFT tapping is effective in animals to help regulate their nervous system, calm their anxiety. And I have noticed shifts in my dog. So I'm still practicing it, but I'm really excited to be able to share some of my findings with you. So keep an eye out on my YouTube channel, because I will be sharing some updates with you soon and some practices if you also want to try EFT tapping on your furry friends. And lastly, if you wanted to experience an EFT tapping session, an intuitive guided session for you to really get familiar with the power of EFT, then I have single sessions available where we will meet for about 60 to 90 minutes and really create an EFT tapping specifically for you, to meet you for where you're at, and so that you can really familiarize yourself with the tool. If you're interested in a single session, I have included the link below so that you can check it out and book your one-on-one session with me. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And if you know of someone else who can benefit from this episode, then please share it with them. Have a fantastic week. I hope that you will join me on Sunday for our Just Tap session. Again, if you want the video version, then be sure to subscribe to the show on Spotify or on YouTube. Until next time, be empowered. Thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to hit subscribe so that you never miss an episode, and I'll see you next time.